The first thing I saw was the spiderweb of broken glass above me and red lights spinning across the night sky. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" a voice shouted near my ear. "Stay with us, okay? Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos? And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. I tried to move, and lightning shot through my ribs. Metal groaned somewhere behind me. The smell of burned rubber and airbag powder filled my lungs. Car accident. My brain finally supplied.
Guardrail.
Maple Avenue. 1 second of checking a notification, then headlights and screaming brakes. They slid me onto a gurney, neck locked in a brace, and rushed me through the ER doors. Cold air hit my face. The ceiling lights strobed overhead like a bad club. "Name?" the paramedic asked, jogging beside me. "Harper. Harper Walker." I rasped. "Harper, we're taking care of you," a nurse said. "You're in County General. You're safe." Safe.
Cute word.
My chest felt like it had a truck parked on it, and something warm was dripping behind my ear, but no, that's not what scared me. What scared me was the thought that was coming next. Don't call my mom. Please, just don't call my mom. They parked me in a curtained bay and went to work for blood pressure, something cold on my arm. My fingers were trembling around my phone when a nurse with a messy bun and tired kindness in her eyes picked it up. "Is this your emergency contact?" she asked. On the cracked screen, under a photo of Lake Michigan, glowed the words, "Mom, Denise." Even concussed, my stomach dropped. "Please," I whispered, voice scraping. "Don't call her. She'll be mad." The nurse thought I was afraid of worrying her. "It's okay," she said gently. "Parents want to know." Mine didn't.
She stepped out anyway.
I lay there, staring at the yellowed ceiling tile, listening to my fate being decided 3 feet away. "Hi, is this Denise Walker?" the nurse said. "I'm calling from County General Hospital. Your daughter, Harper, has been in a car accident. She's stable, but—" Silence. I watched the nurse's face tighten through the gap in the curtain. "Yes, ma'am, she's conscious," the nurse said slowly. "We just thought you'd want to know she's here." And another silence. Longer. The nurse's jaw clenched. "I understand," she finished. "I'll tell her." When she came back, her whole expression had changed. Less clinical, more furious on my behalf. I try to joke because that's what I do when I'm bleeding inside. "Let me guess," I croaked. "She's mad I ruined her night." The nurse hesitated. "She asked me to give you a message." "Just say it," she said. The nurse's mouth twisted. "Tell her to stop seeking attention." For a second, all the monitor beeps and hallway voices faded. It was just me, strapped to a bed, hearing the same sentence I'd heard my entire childhood, only now with fluorescent lighting and a neck brace. Of course she said that, I thought. Of course. Flash. 10-year-old me, sobbing with a sprained wrist, mom snapping. "You're not hurt. You want attention." Flash. 16, panic attack on the bathroom floor, her hissing, "You're making everything about you." Flash. 21, showing her bruises from my ex's grip, her shrugging, "You probably provoked him." This was just the deluxe hospital edition. "I'm so sorry," the nurse said quietly. "That's not on you. That's on her." A laugh burst out of me, half sob, half hysterical. My ribs screamed. "Trust me," I said, eyes burning, "that's on brand." Hours blurred, CT scan, x-rays, cold table, bright lights. Diagnosis: concussion, bruised ribs, no internal bleeding. "You're lucky," the doctor said.
Sure.
Lucky enough to live. Unlucky enough to have her as my emergency contact. By 3 a.m., they discharged me with pain meds and papers I was too tired to read. They wheeled me to the automatic doors and left me parked facing the dark parking lot. The nurse, her badge said Carla, brought my phone back. "Got someone coming?" she asked. "My roommate," I lied. "She works late." In reality, Kelsey was bartending a double across town. She'd probably cried when she saw my text, in about 3 hours when she actually saw it. My phone lit up. Mom, Denise, 3 messages. Heard you're at the hospital.
What now?
Stop making everything about you. No, are you okay? No, do you need me? Just the same script as always. Carla must have seen my face. She glanced at my screen, read enough, and didn't pretend she hadn't. My shift's over, she said. Where do you live, Harper? Oak Street. Across town. I drive past Oak Street, she said. Let me take you. You really don't have to.
I know, she said.
I'm offering anyway. In her beat-up sedan, the city outside was all dark windows and empty sidewalks. I watched my reflection in the glass, bandage at my temple, eyes swollen, hospital bracelet still on. You'd be surprised how many parents don't come when we call, Carla said quietly. Doesn't say anything about the kid. Says a lot about the parent. She's always been like this, I said. I used to think if something really bad happened, she'd change. Turn into one of those bedside moms from movies. And now I know the movie's not happening, I said. And I'm done auditioning for a part she never wanted me in. Carla gave a small, sad smile. Sometimes family is who shows up at 3 a.m. with bad coffee, not who shares your last name. That puts you way ahead of my family, I said. She laughed. I'll accept the promotion. At my building, she parked and dug a card from her pocket. This is our hospital social worker, she said. If you ever want help with boundaries, housing stuff, anything, you don't have to keep doing life on hard mode just because you were handed a bad mother. My throat tightened. Thank you. For this. For the ride. For not making me feel crazy. Harper, she said, hand on the door. We don't fight like that in the ER for attention seekers. We fight for people who deserve to be here. Her words stuck in my chest like a splint, holding something broken in place. Upstairs, my tiny apartment felt strangely quiet. Thrift store couch, leaning lamp, plants I kept forgetting to water. I sat on the edge of my bed, ribs aching, and opened my mom's thread again. Stop making everything about you.
Fine.
I opened her contact. Under Mom, Denise, a green toggle glowed. Emergency contact. My hand shook as I switched it off. Then I scrolled down to block this caller. For a second, guilt clawed at me. She's still your mother. What if something happens? What if she needs you? Then I heard her voice in the ER again. Tell her to stop seeking attention. I hit block. The phone went silent. For the first time in my life, that silence felt like safety. I didn't know it yet, but in 7 days, that blocked number would light up my screen 47 times in a row. And this time, I'd be the one deciding if her emergency mattered. A week later, I was back on my feet, barely. The bruises on my ribs had turned every breath into a reminder, but I'd learned to work through pain. I always had. My apartment smelled like burnt toast and cheap coffee. The sun cut through the blinds in harsh stripes as I slipped into my work clothes, black slacks, white shirt, apron. The same cafe where I'd been working since community college. Minimum wage, maximum exhaustion. But it was mine. My independence. My peace. I clocked in, tied my apron, and forced a smile for the morning rush. No one there knew about the accident, or the mother who hadn't cared enough to show up. They just saw Harper, the quiet barista who remembered everyone's order. By noon, I'd fallen into rhythm. Foam, pour, smile, repeat. Until my phone, tucked beside the espresso machine, buzzed violently.
Once. Twice.
Then again. I frowned. The number flashing wasn't saved, just digits I hadn't seen since I blocked her. 47 missed calls. The words on the screen didn't register at first. Then I froze. Denise Walker.
No.
She was blocked. I'd made sure. But somehow, she'd gotten through, new number maybe, or borrowed someone's phone. Either way, the notifications stacked like dominoes. And then came the voicemail. I shouldn't have listened. But curiosity always wins when it's mixed with old hurt. I slipped into the supply room, hit play, and braced myself. Her voice was frantic, desperate, the kind I'd begged for years to hear, but never got until now. Harper, pick up. We need your signature to save the house. The bank. Oh God, just call me back.
Please.
Please, I'm begging you. I leaned against the shelf, feeling nothing. Not anger, not joy. Just clarity. The same woman who called me an attention seeker in the ER now wanted my signature to save her house. I replayed the message once, then deleted it. Back in the cafe, the air smelled like vanilla syrup and roasted beans. I took another order, smiled like nothing had happened, and poured the milk just right. But inside, something had shifted. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. I felt powerful. By evening, my phone was still blowing up. Unknown numbers, relatives I hadn't spoken to in years, even a text from my cousin. Your mom's panicking. Says you won't answer. What's going on? I typed back. Guess she finally knows how that feels. Then locked the screen. The universe has a twisted sense of timing. That same week, my boss called me into her office. Harper, she said, I've been watching your work. You're organized, responsible, and good under pressure. You ever think about moving into management? I blinked. Me? Yes, you, she said, smiling. We're opening a new location downtown next month. I want you to run it. For a second, I couldn't speak. The ER, the accident, my mother's words, all of it flashed through my mind. And now this, a chance to build something without her shadow over me. I'd love that, I finally said. When I walked out, I felt taller than I had in years. That night, my phone rang one last time. No caller ID. I let it ring. Then, almost instinctively, I opened the blocked list. Her name sat there, gray and quiet. I didn't unblock her. Not because I wanted revenge, but because peace is a kind of revenge too. I whispered into the dark. You wanted me to stop seeking attention, Mom. Don't worry. I finally did. But this time, it wasn't pain she couldn't see. It was success. 2 weeks later, I stood in front of a gleaming glass storefront with my name printed on the manager badge clipped to my shirt. Harper Walker, store lead. The sign above read Bean and Bloom, downtown. My store. My team. My rules. The soft opening was chaos. Customers lined up to the door. Espresso machines hissing like they had tempers, and new hires forgetting orders left and right.
But I didn't panic.
I'd been through worse than a coffee rush. At the end of the first day, when the doors finally closed, my assistant manager grinned. You did it, Harper. We broke the record for first-day sales. I smiled. Then tomorrow we beat it. That night, I walked home through the city lights, still buzzing with caffeine and something stronger, pride. I was building a life completely separate from the woman who told me I'd never make it without her. My phone buzzed again. Another voicemail from a new number. I didn't recognize it, but I knew the voice. Harper, it's Mom. Please, don't hang up this time. The bank's taking the house. They said if we can't get your signature, they'll foreclose next week. I know I've said awful things, but you're all I have left. Her voice cracked. I stopped walking. For years, I'd fantasized about her apologizing, about her finally realizing what she'd done to me. But hearing it now, it felt hollow. Because it wasn't me she cared about, it was the house. I could have deleted the message right there. But instead, I hit save. Not for her, but for me. A reminder of how far I'd come. The next morning, I woke to an email from an unknown address. Subject: Urgent, property notice. It was from the bank. My name was still on the old family deed. If I didn't sign, the property would be sold to cover my mother's debts. I stared at the screen, coffee in hand, and smiled. Maybe this was karma's way of saying, your turn, Harper. That evening, I drove to the address I'd sworn I'd never visit again, the house I grew up in. Paint peeling, porch sagging, but still holding the ghost of every argument we'd ever had. The front door swung open before I could knock. My mother stood there, thinner than I remembered, eyes darting to the car I'd parked outside, a clean gray sedan I'd bought myself. Harper, she breathed, clutching her cardigan. You came. I'm not here for you, I said flatly. I'm here for the paperwork. Her lip trembled. You're really going to let them take everything your father built? I met her eyes. You mean everything you ruined? For a moment, Neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavy, full of things we'd never said, apologies that would never come. Inside, the table was covered in bills, overdue notices, and empty wine bottles. The life she'd chosen over me. She slid the deed across the table. All you have to do is sign. You could save this place. I looked around. The chipped walls, the faded curtains, the memories. Then I smiled, a small, sad smile. I already did save something, I said. Myself. Her eyes widened. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm not signing, I said, standing up. You told me to stop seeking attention. So I did. You won't get mine anymore. Her voice rose, desperate. You'll regret this. I turned at the door. I already regretted staying. And I walked away without looking back. That night, as I poured myself a glass of wine in my apartment, an email notification pinged. Property foreclosed. Transfer complete. I set the phone down and whispered, "Goodbye, Denise." This time, it didn't hurt. It healed. A month later, life had never felt this steady. My morning started with sunlight, not shouting. Coffee brewing, not crying. For once, I woke up excited for the day ahead instead of bracing for what could go wrong. The downtown cafe had become a local favorite. Journalists stopped by for interviews, influencers filmed clips of our latte art, and my team had grown into something like a small family. I was finally where I'd always dreamed of being, respected, independent, and at peace. But life, as usual, had one more twist waiting. It happened on a Thursday morning, 5 minutes before opening. I was restocking sugar packets when the front doorbell jingled. When I looked up, my breath caught. Standing there was her. My mother, Denise Walker, dressed in a wrinkled coat, eyes hollow, hands shaking around a worn leather purse. For a second, the entire room went silent. The clatter of cups, the hum of the espresso machine, it all blurred into nothing. "Harper," she said softly, almost like she was afraid to be heard. "You look different." I straightened, forcing calm into my voice. "That's what happens when you stop begging for approval." She flinched, then looked around the cafe, taking in the polished counters and happy staff. "This place is beautiful. You did this without me." "Yes," I said. "Without you. Without your help. Without your doubt." Tears pooled in her eyes. "I lost everything. The house, the car. I don't even have a place to sleep tonight." Her voice cracked just enough to pull at something deep inside me, a memory of the little girl who used to crave that same approval. But I stayed still.
Calm. Steady.
"I'm sorry that happened," I said. "But I can't fix your choices anymore." She reached for me, her hand trembling. "Harper, please. I know I was cruel. I know I said awful things. But I'm your mother. And I'm your daughter," I said evenly. "The one you told the hospital to ignore." The color drained from her face. "I didn't mean that." "Yes, you did." I met her eyes. "And it's okay. Because I stopped needing you to mean anything else." A few customers had started whispering. My barista, Mia, hovered nervously near the register. I turned and said calmly, "Mia, take over for a bit." When I faced my mother again, her eyes were pleading.
"So, that's it?"
"You're just going to walk away?" I shook my head.
"No."
"I'm just not walking backward anymore." I pulled open the drawer under the counter, took out an envelope, and placed it on the table between us. Inside were bills, enough for a hotel room, a meal, maybe a fresh start. "This isn't forgiveness," I said. "It's closure." She stared at the envelope, then at me. "You really grew into someone powerful, didn't you?" I smiled faintly. "You taught me how to survive indifference. Turns out, that skill builds strength." Her lips trembled. "Harper, I raised a hand gently. "You don't owe me words. Just remember this. Kindness is stronger than cruelty. I'm living proof." Then I walked her to the door, held it open, and let her go. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, spilling light across the glass storefront. I stood there for a moment, breathing it in. No more hospital calls. No more begging to be seen. No more pain disguised as family. When I turned around, Mia grinned. Everything okay? Yeah, I said, smiling for real this time. Better than okay. That night, I posted a photo of the cafe's neon sign glowing against the dark. Bean and bloom. Caption: blooming isn't revenge. It's proof you made it through. The comments flooded in: friends, old coworkers, even strangers. And as I set my phone down and looked out at the city lights, I whispered, I didn't need her to save me. I just needed to stop waiting for her to try. Finally, I had.